Have you ever stopped to wonder why some men seem to possess a natural magnetism that effortlessly attracts women? It's not luck, it's not genetics, it's pure psychology applied strategically. What if I told you there's a proven methodology based on neuroscience and human behavior that can completely transform how women perceive you? Get ready to uncover the secrets the seduction industry doesn't want you to know. Forget the canned lines, the cheap tricks, the outdated techniques. We're talking about a profound transformation in your masculine essence, something that will awaken feminine desire so naturally you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. The promise is bold, but the results are inevitable once you understand how the female mind truly works. First, let's talk about the concept of magnetic presence. Most men make the fatal mistake of trying to impress through words, stories, superficial displays of value. But the truth is, feminine desire isn't awakened by what you say, but by what you transmit without saying a word. Your presence needs to communicate security, purpose, and mystery simultaneously. Imagine walking into a room and without uttering a syllable, capturing the attention of every woman present. It's not magic, it's mastery of body language and masculine energy. You need to understand that your body speaks louder than your words. The way you occupy space, how your shoulders are positioned, how your eyes move around the room, every micro-expression tells a story. And the story you want to tell is that of a man who knows exactly who he is and where he's going. The problem is that most men convey insecurity through nervous gestures, slumped posture, evasive gazes. You're communicating submission when you should be communicating leadership. The transformation begins when you learn to calibrate your physical presence to convey absolute confidence. But it's not about faking it. It's about awakening the natural leader within you. Women are biologically programmed to detect signs of strength and protection. When you master your presence, you activate primitive attraction instincts that transcend modern social conditioning. That's why some men seem to attract effortlessly. They've mastered the art of magnetic presence. And you're about to do the same. Second, we need to talk about the power of emotional scarcity. This is one of the most misunderstood concepts in modern seduction. Most men believe they need to always be available, always responding to messages instantly, always saying, yes, but female psychology works in the complete opposite way. Desire grows in absence, not in constant presence. When you're always available, you become predictable. And predictability is the #1 enemy of attraction. Think of it like the stock market. When something is always available in abundance, its value decreases. But when something becomes scarce, its value skyrockets. The same principle applies to the man-woman dynamic. You need to learn to create strategic vacuums of attention. It's not about playing games or being cruel. It's about having a life so rich and fulfilling that your attention naturally becomes valuable. When she texts you, you don't need to reply in seconds. When she suggests a date, you don't need to cancel all your commitments. This posture communicates that you have options, that you have purpose, that you're not desperate. And paradoxically, the less desperate you appear, the more she will desire your attention. It's the delicate dance between presence and absence that keeps the flame of desire alive. But be careful. There's a thin line between creating healthy scarcity and simply being negligent. The secret is to be selective with your attention, not absent. When you are present, be completely present. When you're not, have legitimate reasons for it. Your life needs to be genuinely interesting, not artificially busy. Have you noticed how this completely changes the dynamic? Comment now if you've ever experienced the power of emotional scarcity, even without knowing its name. But wait, this is just the beginning. What I'm about to reveal about erotic tension will transform every interaction you have with women. Third, let's dive into the concept of calibrated erotic tension. Most men either completely avoid creating erotic tension for fear of seeming inappropriate, or they overdo it and end up looking desperate. There's a sweet spot, a zone of tension that awakens desire without crossing boundaries, and mastering this calibration is an art that separates ordinary men from the truly magnetic ones. Erotic tension isn't created through pickup lines or obvious insinuations. It's created through subcommunication, energy, and perfect timing. Imagine a normal conversation about work or hobbies, but with a subtle electric current passing between you. It's the gaze that lasts half a second longer than normal. It's the strategic pause before answering a question. It's the mischievous smile that suggests you know something she doesn't. All these micro-actions create an atmosphere charged with possibilities. But here's the secret few understand. The most powerful erotic tension is one you create and then relieve, create, and relieve in a hypnotic cycle. It's like a controlled emotional roller coaster. You approach, create the tension, and then subtly pull back. You touch on the subject, but don't fully dive in. This dance of advance and retreat activates the reward centers in her brain, creating a quasi-dependence on your presence. She starts to anticipate these moments of tension, to desire them, to actively seek them out. And the most fascinating part is that this can be done in a completely respectful and elegant way. We're not talking about manipulation, but about creating a rich and engaging emotional experience. When you master calibrated erotic tension, every interaction becomes electrifying. Every conversation has layers of meaning. Every encounter leaves her wanting more. Fourth, we need to address the principle of strategic vulnerability. This goes against everything traditional culture teaches about masculinity, but that's exactly why it's so powerful. Most men believe they need to be an impenetrable fortress, never showing weaknesses, never admitting fears or insecurities. But the psychological truth is that deep emotional connection, the kind that generates lasting desire, only happens when there's an exchange of vulnerabilities. I'm not telling you to cry on the first date or unload all your traumas. I'm talking about calculated moments of emotional openness that create instant intimacy. It could be casually sharing a childhood fear during a conversation. It could be admitting a past mistake and showing what you learned from it. It could be revealing a dream you've never told anyone. These moments of vulnerability, when well calibrated, create a connection that transcends the superficial. She feels like she knows the real man behind the social mask, and that is incredibly seductive. But here's the trick. Vulnerability needs to come from a place of strength, not weakness. It's the difference between saying I'm afraid of heights because it makes me feel vulnerable versus I'm afraid of heights, but I still bungee jumped because I don't let my fears control me. One shows weakness, the other shows courage. When you master the art of strategic vulnerability, you create an emotional connection that most men take months or years to build. You accelerate the process of intimacy in a natural and authentic way. If this is making sense to you, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We still have a lot of ground to cover, and what's coming next about the principle of calculated unpredictability will completely change your game. Fifth, let's explore the concept of calculated unpredictability. The human brain is addicted to patterns. We love to predict what will happen next because it makes us feel safe, but safety and desire rarely go hand in hand. When you become completely predictable, you kill the spark of curiosity that fuels attraction. Calculated unpredictability isn't about being erratic or unreliable. It's about surprising in positive ways, about strategically breaking patterns. If you always take her to fancy restaurants, surprise her with a picnic in the park. If your conversations always follow the same rhythm, introduce a completely unexpected topic. If you always dress formally, show up casually at a strategic moment. These pattern breaks keep her brain engaged, always trying to decipher you. But the secret lies in the word calculated. Each surprise needs to be planned to generate a positive emotional response. It's not about being inconsistent with your values or promises. It's about being consistent in what matters and surprising in what delights. Imagine her mind as a puzzle that's never fully completed. Whenever she thinks she's completely understood you, you reveal a new facet. This creates what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement, the same principle that makes gambling so addictive. She never knows exactly when the next pleasant surprise will come, so she remains constantly engaged. But remember, unpredictability without purpose is just chaos. Each surprise needs to deepen the connection, not confuse it. Sixth, we need to talk about mastering the masculine frame mindset. A frame mindset is basically the reality you project and into which you invite others to participate. Most men enter the feminine frame mindset trying to mold themselves to what they think she wants. But feminine desire is awakened when she enters your frame mindset, when she is invited into your world, not the other way around. Having a strong frame mindset means having clear convictions, well-defined boundaries, and a vision for life that doesn't bend at the first sign of resistance. It's not about being inflexible or authoritarian. It's about having a solid foundation of values and principles that guide your actions. When you have a strong frame mindset, you don't need to convince anyone of anything. You simply are, and that is incredibly attractive. Imagine yourself as the sun. The sun doesn't try to convince planets to orbit around it. It simply shines with such intensity that the orbit happens naturally. Your masculine frame, ARC's mindset, works the same way. When you have clarity about who you are, what you want, and where you're going, you create a gravitational field that naturally attracts. But building a strong frame as mindset requires deep inner work. It requires you to question your beliefs, define your values, and have the courage to live by them even when it means saying no or disappointing someone. It's about personal integrity at its deepest level. Seventh, let's address the mastery of emotional communication. Men and women speak different languages when it comes to emotions. Most men communicate in a logical and literal mode, while women navigate an ocean of emotional nuances. If you want to awaken deep desire, you need to learn to speak the emotional language fluently. This doesn't mean becoming emotional or dramatic. It means understanding that behind every word she says, there's an emotion, and it's with that emotion that you need to connect. When she says, "I'm tired," she might be communicating a dozen different things depending on the emotional context. Mastering emotional communication means reading between the lines, responding to what wasn't said, validating feelings before offering solutions. It's about creating a safe space where she can express her complete femininity without judgment. But here's the paradox. You need to navigate her emotions without getting lost in your own. You are the safe harbor in an emotional storm, not another drifting boat. This requires developed emotional intelligence and constant practice. When you master this, every conversation becomes an intimate dance of deep connection. Eighth, we need to explore the concept of natural leadership. I'm not talking about being dominant or controlling. I'm talking about leadership that arises naturally when you have clarity of purpose and direction. Women are biologically attracted to men who can lead, who can make decisions, who can guide without forcing. Leadership in the context of seduction means having initiative, having plans, having vision. It means saying, "Let's do this," instead of, "What do you want to do?" It means having an opinion without being inflexible, having direction without being dictatorial. It's a delicate balance that requires constant practice and calibration, but when you get it right, the effect is magnetic. She relaxes in your presence because she knows you can handle things. She trusts your ability to navigate the world. This awakens primitive attraction instincts that transcend modern social conditioning. But true leadership also means knowing when to follow, when to listen, when to adapt. It's about flexibility within strength, softness within firmness. Ninth, let's talk about cultivating personal mystery. In an era of social media overexposure, where everyone shares every detail of their lives, mystery has become a rare and valuable currency. Keeping aspects of yourself unrevealed isn't about lying or hiding. It's about revealing yourself in layers, like a work of art that reveals new details with each observation. Mystery creates curiosity, and curiosity keeps desire alive. When she feels she already knows everything about you, the spell breaks. But when there's always something more to discover, the journey never ends. This means having hobbies you don't immediately share, stories you save for special moments, aspects of your personality that reveal themselves gradually. It's about depth, not superficiality. Each revealed layer should deepen the attraction, not diminish it. 10th, we need to address the importance of polarizing authenticity. Many men try to be agreeable to everyone, try not to offend, try to fit in. But real attraction happens in polarization, when you are authentically yourself, even if it means some people won't like you. Being polarizing means having strong opinions, defined tastes, a unique style. It means saying no when necessary, respectfully expressing disagreement, defending your values without apologizing. This creates what we call authentic masculine energy. something women can feel instantly. When you try to please everyone, you don't deeply please anyone. But when you are authentically polarizing, you intensely attract those who resonate with your energy. The journey I've described here isn't a superficial trick or technique. It's a profound transformation in how you relate to yourself and the world. When you implement these principles, you're not just learning to awaken feminine desire. You're becoming the best version of yourself, a man who naturally attracts through the quality of his presence, the depth of his character, the authenticity of his expression. Feminine desire isn't a code to be cracked, but a dance to be mastered. And now you know the moves. Question is, are you ready to dance? If this content resonated with you, subscribe to the channel now. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos where we'll delve deeper into each of these concepts with practical exercises and real-life examples. Comment below which principle impacted you the most. Your transformation journey begins the moment you decide you deserve to live the kind of love life you've always dreamed of. The power was always in your hands. Now you know how to use it.